and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about University of Utah Health, for you, for life, University of Utah Health. That might have been one of the meaner things Lloyd said to me, I guess, but us, before we came back on. He said it's already.
Man. We're doing our best.
Already not a top five show.
You're already bagging on me about the top five show thing.
Dude, you could give us a chance to rebound. We got a half hour left, bro.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to Mike Smith in a second. That's obviously going to buoy things.
Well, we were hoping to talk to Danny Ainge, but he's doing what he should be doing, which is he's at the Big 12 tournament.
Who's a bigger celebrity, Danny Ainge or Mike Smith?
Mike Smith.
By a lot.
I mean, quite literally, he's taller. He's bigger.
He is taller.
And he's on TV. Danny Ainge barely gets any screen time anymore.
Yeah, he really doesn't. I bet he'll get some screen time at the Big 12 tourney, which I think is where he is.
Sure, yeah.
Well, that's what was told. So unless he's just ducking us.
Which could be possible. He gets to.
Nobody can duck us,
Danny
Ben.
Ainge, yeah.
Nobody. All right, let's get out of the zone phone. Joining us now, of course, he makes magic happen on K-Jazz and Jazz Plus. He usually joins us on Tuesdays on our show, but he's now joining us. No, he joined us on Wednesdays on our show. I forget what day it is.
This is not a top five show.
No, right. It's not. And now he joins us on Wednesday on Scotty G and Friends. He's our friend, Mike Smith. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, guys.
Do you ever lose track of what day it is because we work so many nights and weekends?
Honestly, yes. And I feel like from playing days to broadcasting days, I've never had the 9-to-5 job where I could appreciate either what a weekend was or what a weekend felt to other people. And so, yes, like I'm more tied to the schedule than I ever was to the day of the week. So I often get confused.
Mike, I guess what was that like as a player? How do you try and build your life when you're an NBA player and professional basketball player when you realize, there's just you don't operate on a similar, you don't operate in the same planet as most of the rest of the world.
No, and like in my day, we didn't make a ton of money, so I knew immediately following that, I wasn't done after basketball was over. I needed a job. I needed to, provide for my family. But like, honestly, if I think about it, even going back to college days, it feels like I've had a season and an off season, if you will, and almost like school, like a school year and a summer, because the basketball season almost coincided with a school year. And I feel like that's been my whole adult life, even from like, you could start with college at 18, but even in high school in some regards, even though I played multiple sports there. But it's just, I don't know it any other way. And so you make the best of it and the most of it. And I've missed tons of things in my playing career and broadcasting career. So I've missed anniversaries and I've missed, doggone it, birthdays and performances and games and things like that. And not that I'm a perfect dad or anything. I guess you just try and make the most of it and make up for it when you do have time, like make the most of summers and when you didn't have then evenings that were occupied, you kind of went overboard. And it's imperfect for sure, but you do what you got to do.
Mike, I'm curious if you've ever cheated the game by stat packing like Bam Adebayo did last night.
It was unbelievable.
It was fake is what it was. Total fake.
It was a scam, and I'm glad you're saying so. It was embarrassing to the NBA. I think Adam Silver, although it was out of his control, he couldn't do anything about last night. He can certainly make a statement about it now. He could come out and say, this cannot happen. This is kind of what's wrong with our league today. Like that was just ridiculous. Now, I watched the first quarter, and like I was super impressed with how aggressive he was and the shots he was making. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy just put up a 30 or 31-point first quarter. I thought, wow, like is this guy going to get 50? And I consider him one of the guys who would be not a candidate to score 50 in a game, right? He's barely averaged 20, maybe once or twice. And I think most of his years are in the 17 to 19 range. So for him to get a 50 would be like an Andre Miller or a Tony Delk, or, there's some of these guys that randomly one time scored 50. And I thought, oh, he's going to do it. But what I saw in the second half with, like, especially even the Heat fouling at the end to preserve possessions and preserve clock and then get him back to the line and leave him in the game with them up by so many points, so stupid and so ridiculous. And all the things I've now read out there, like Bam Adebayo outdid Kobe Bryant's 81. Give me a break.
Now, Kobe cheated too.
I loved it. I love the 83 points, and I like Bam, so I've got no problem with it. Maybe it's because I have a soft spot for him.
I do like Bam, so yeah, I just don't like what it represents.
No, I mean, it was a joke, and the Wizards are a joke, and again, they gave up 31 points in the first quarter. I mean, that game started as a joke and ended as a joke, and I think you're right, Mike. It is a representation of where the NBA is today, because one of those teams entered the game with the desire to lose, and Miami said, fine, we're going to make you lose as embarrassingly as possible. Neither here nor there. Knicks in town tonight. Knicks on a little bit of a slide. They've lost 3 of 4. Meanwhile, the Jazz have lost 2 of 3. What do you expect to see tonight from New York?
I think the Knicks have one of the better starting fives in the league. And they're unique because their skill sets are different, right? And Anunoby can get you 20, and Towns, can score. Towns, by the way, is one of the greatest three-point shooting big men of all time. Like, he just is. I think he's 39.8 career three-point percentage, and he shot over 40%, maybe 4 or 5 times. He doesn't shoot a ton of them, but he will shoot 4.5 a game. But, put him in the category of a Dirk Nowitzki, and he's going to surpass the amount of threes that Dirk made. I think he's 30 now, Towns. So he's unique, and if he stays healthy, and then they got Brunson, who's just a stinking gamer. And I think the Knicks, along with Boston, are probably the 2 front runners to represent the East in the finals. San Antonio smacked Boston pretty good last night, but the Knicks are decent. Like, they're pretty good. Like, they're top 10 in both offense and defense, and they got guys like Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart who don't need the ball to help you. And those things are good. Those are characteristics of winning teams. They have enough scoring. They have enough shooting. I just worry that they don't have enough depth. So, like, if somebody gets in foul trouble or somebody gets hurt, who comes in off that bench in a playoff series to really help you? But they're good. And they smacked the Jazz the last time, so hopefully the Jazz have an answer this time.
All right, Mike, if we took the kind of guaranteed going to be on the team for the Jazz next year off the board, like, Walker Lowry, Jaren Jackson, Ace, Keontae, if we took those 5 off the board, who do you see having a role on the team next year?
It's kind of a hard one. Like, it depends on a lot of things. But I would say Collier and Bryce, to me, represent the 2 most unique candidates, I guess. If we're just kind of looking at, the remaining guys. But like, everybody's so unique. Like, Cody's coming along. Kyle Filipowski does great things and has such a variety of skill set on the floor that he could help you and could help a team. Collier, I feel like, is unique in the way he plays the game and what he could become. Bryce is a scorer. And you got guys like Blake Hinson who really can shoot it. And you got guys like Elijah Harkless who can really defend and inject, pressure and speed into a ball game. I think it remains to be seen. I think it's an unfinished symphony right now, and I think a lot depends on moves over the summer and who we draft.
What do you think of Isaiah? There is just, it's so hard to argue with what he does when it's working. I mean, it is effective against everybody in the NBA when he's really dialed in. The flaws to his game are obvious. He's not a good three-point shooter. He's not a great defensive player yet, but there are not a lot of players in the NBA who are a one-man fast break or paint touch every time they touch the ball.
It's well said. It's well said. I like what he brings. And I've always been a big fan of coaches and teams who could accentuate what somebody does better than anybody else. And took the positives and let them outweigh the negatives and say, okay, I like him because of this, and he can do this. Let me minimize what he can't do and let me accentuate what he can do because it provides this and this. I've said it maybe 20 times this year, whether television or radio or to friends, that to the degree that this young man perfects that shot and improves his variety of shots and ways to finish around the rim is how far he will go. And I'm not just talking, say, making a Jazz roster. I'm not just saying becoming a part of a Jazz playoff team next year. I'm talking his career and its trajectory, wherever that takes him, and hopefully it's with the Jazz and he stays. Like, he could be really good. And I always throw the caveat out there, I'm not great on guards. I'm super good on small forwards and bigs because I just played those positions and I see all that. But I definitely recognize the uniqueness of him. And I feel that way, like to the degree that he works on those things and really makes him an asset. And I feel like he's a worker. Like, I feel like from what he talks about, the film he's watching, and he makes comments like, I'm starting to watch defenders' feet. So, like, when I'm coming down full speed, I'm watching their feet, and I'm learning from film when they're out of position and when to go right and when to go left. And I'm watching the little subtleties of like a defender backpedaling. I'm like, wow, like, that's kind of cool. When that stuff happens and you got talent and speed, that's usually a good combination, right? Like, hard work can usually beat talent, but when talent works hard, it goes to that guy.
What do you think about BYU's potential in the tourney, Mike? They got a win yesterday. They're playing again. They're playing West Virginia at 5 o'clock tonight, but almost assuredly in the tournament. What do you think their top end is with all these injuries?
The injuries have devastated them, that's for sure. But there's been a sense of urgency of late. I love the way they've descended in these last few games, like Iowa State, Texas Tech games to close out the season. They did not look good at West Virginia, at Cincinnati, but like the opening round of the tournament looked good again. And Devonta's, in my opinion, the best player in college basketball. And of all this great crop of guys who we know are going to enter the pro ranks next year, the Boozers and the Petersons and AJ and whether the kid from North Carolina does, and then like Flemings from Houston. And like, I think AJ is going to be the best pro out of all those guys. It's just what I feel from watching him.
What does that feel like? You were on a team, and you weren't there for MVP Larry Bird, but you weren't far off of MVP Larry Bird. When you have a guy who you think, man, the other team probably can't stop him, what type of confidence does that give you as a teammate, knowing that if you have the best player on the floor, you've got a chance to win a game? We
walked into every arena and thought we were going to win. That's the truth. And this was Bird in his 10th year. Okay, so he had – it was his 10th – well, technically it was his 11th year as my rookie year. So he'd been 9 times first-team All-NBA. So I'd missed all that greatness. That's when Larry's young. Those are the highlights you see on YouTube and Instagram, like when he's moving and running and just toying with people. And my senior year in college, Bird played 6 games and then had heel surgery. So he missed all but 6 games that year and then was off the entire offseason. And then, like, unlucky for me, the first year he's back is the year I get there. So he was raring to go and fired up and healthy and fresh, but nowhere near, from what everyone tells me, the player, you know, in the mid-'80s when he wins 3 MVPs in a row. But we literally walked onto the court and, like, not only thought we were going to win, we knew we were going to win. And we didn't win them all. And there were teams that gave us trouble. The Jazz gave us trouble. Portland gave us trouble. Like, super athletic, tough teams gave us a little bit of trouble because Bird and McHale and Parrish were getting up there. DJ was 36, Dennis Johnson. So if they pressured us, DJ didn't like that, you know, at that stage of his career. So there were like a handful of teams. We split with the Lakers. We dominated the Spurs, like teams that were young and talented with David Robinson and Sean Elliott and that crew. Like there were many times we walked on the floor and I thought, how are we going to beat this team? this team's got a bunch of studs, and we would just annihilate them. And, like, talk about, like, just being smart and knowing how to play and how much that mattered. It was everything. We just couldn't get past a couple teams. Detroit got us one year, in a crazy series. Anyway, but it was fun. It was fun. We didn't practice a lot. That's the fun part. We hardly practiced. We hardly worked on anything. We had like 5 plays, and, we flew commercially, so, like, you just didn't practice a lot. So those of us who weren't playing 20 minutes a game, like, we were practicing a lot because we needed to lift and stay in shape, and nobody lifted back then. Robert Parrish and I were the only 2 who lifted. It was just a different day. It was so odd. But it was fun nonetheless, and learned a lot from those guys. They knew how to win. And there's something to be said for that.
I'm just picturing getting onto a commercial flight and walking by first class and seeing Robert Parrish jammed into a seat.
Well, look, my family
the...
was very middle class, and one time my parents were rebuilding their house because they did it themselves, and they got so tired of living in this house in a state of rebuild, they said, let's go stay downtown at whatever a middle class hotel people can afford. And it was the one the Boston Celtics were staying at because Robert Parrish got in the elevator with us, or at least with my mom. Say
hey, Chief?
She did. Well, they knew who he was, and he had interesting company with him apparently that night. But yeah, regardless, it was not. You're right. It was not the most glamorous days of the NBA even then, Mike.
Listen to
the funny thing about Chief looked like he was the most stoic, like, guy that never spoke, but he was the one who talked the most on the court. Like on defense, he was the one directing traffic, talking, always talking. And he was hilarious. And if you looked at him and watched his mannerism, you'd say, that guy never says a word. But he was funny. He was super funny. And he was a fantastic player. Played till he was like 41 or 42.
Mike, you are the best. Thank you very much. We'll be watching tonight. Appreciate you.
Okay. See you tonight, guys.
Robert Parrish's last championship came against the Jazz when the Bulls won a title. He was on those Bulls teams, so he won 4 titles, 3 with the Celtics and 1 with Michael.
And Ben just sold him out for having a Utah girlfriend.
Well, you don't want it to get noticed. Don't do it.
By a youth in the elevator?
Apparently, yeah.
Did you say, she looks lovely, Chief? No?
I did not.
All right.
Reggie Lewis also, the late Reggie Lewis.
Who was he with?
Just the team.
Okay. All right, stay tuned. More of Scotty G and Friends coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.